Hello and welcome to this little impression video of the first-person shooter Chernobyl Commando. I played this game on the difficulty normal and I haven't actually completed the main campaign yet. I only came to a mission in Iraq, then I dropped the game. It was called Under the Sun something. And so my impression will be based on my time with the game naturally, so I can't really say anything that happens after that mission. And it's entirely possible that the game is completely different after that mission, and so on and so on. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is a first-person shooter, and it starts in Chernobyl, where we are fighting some kind of terrorist or something. I didn't really get who we were fighting or why, but I didn't complete the game, so I will shut up about it. But safe to say is that the story wasn't all that involving, at least the time I spent with the game. Now, the shooting in the game isn't all that impressive, to be honest. I mean, it has some good stuff in it. You know, you shoot people and they die just as they are supposed to, so it works okay, and you get a decent amount of weapons in the early parts of the game, which was kind of neat. A lot of the weapons do, however, overlap with each other quite a bit. You get quite a lot of snipers in the game, and I actually found myself relying quite a lot on sniping. And the reason for that is that number one is that the maps are quite open and, you know, very fit to snipe, and number two is that the non-sniping weapons are kind of extremely inaccurate. And combine that with number three, that is that most enemies can be kind of bullet spongy if you shoot them in their midsections. So you really want to shoot them in the head, and that can be kind of a hard thing to do at a long range and distance with non-sniping weapons. So I found myself using a lot of sniping weapons. And I forgot number four, that is that AI is kind of dumb. And enemies, when they have a clear line of sight to you, often just stand still or lie still in a fixed position and looking at you. And they are quite easy sniping targets. Just line up and shoot them in the head one at a time. And this wasn't actually all that funny, because when you were in close distance and fought with non-sniping guns like AKs, 47s and so on, as I mentioned before, the enemies were quite bullet spongy, and that isn't fun. Not to mention that you could spray a lot of bullets on enemies before they die, so it felt quite non-responsive, and the weapons didn't feel or no sound all that good or fun to use. And when you are sniping people, as I mentioned before, the enemies kind of line up and are easy targets, and that isn't all that fun. It feels like you are, you know, at a target practice and just line them up and shoot them in the head. So they aren't all that fun to fight against, and overall the combat, I mean, compared to other games in the same genre, feels yeah, not all that good. And the game also have quite a lot of turret sections in the game. And when I say quite a lot, I really mean, you know, a whole lot of turret sections. I mean, in perhaps not every map, but every other, at least in the maps I played, that is to say. And I have never been a big fan of turret sections, and the turret sections in this game wasn't a whole lot of fun either, so yeah. And another thing that bugged me a bit about the combat was that the game uses checkpoints, and checkpoints can be a bit too far between, at least in my opinion. And I died at times in turret sections and the like, and I had to you know, do over quite a lot of gameplay. That wasn't all that fun, and especially not doing over a turret section is absolutely no fun at all. And this is related to why I stopped playing the game, because you see, the game does that when you know, when you leave the combat zone, it flashes a message that you're leaving the combat zone, get back in 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you die, and it's extremely annoying. And I died because of that, and I had to redo quite a lot of gameplay, and I just said no. I mean, I'm not going to do that. I have better games to play, so I stopped playing. And while we are talking about that, this whole you're leaving the combat zone is extremely annoying, because the maps at least seems to be quite open, but because of this you can't flank the enemies and so on, and I often find myself trying to flank enemies, but I couldn't do it because of this nonsense. And it makes these maps that seems to be open and wide to be actually quite narrow and corridor-like. And it's just in reality it's a corridor that just looks like it's a big map because of this combat zone that you have to follow and so on. And it's quite annoying. And overall I didn't think that the gameplay was something to be impressed about. Because you see, I personally really like first-person shooters, and I can play a lot of the shooters that in reality isn't all that good, but I can see some good parts in them, and they have their own niche or their own fun setting or something like that makes me want to play them because I like the genre. But in this game, I thought that the setting and was kind of boring, and I mean, it feels like they wanted to do a Call of Duty, but they didn't have the talent or the money or anything to do it. I mean, the game have the same flaw as as those big budget titles, and it doesn't feel like it has its own niche, or it doesn't feel like it wants to do something special, and or at least it doesn't succeed in that, at least in my opinion. So I wasn't particularly impressed by this game. And that is not to mention that the game have quite a lot of technical problems. There are a lot of pop-ins, objects in the game pops out or pops in, and that is not to mention that the game is quite unoptimized. I mean, I had some quite severe frame rate problems in the game. And I had to lower the settings quite a bit, despite that the game doesn't look all that impressive visually and really shouldn't in any way, cause any problems. But I had to lower the settings, and despite that I still at times had some frame rate problems, which is kind of a shame. I guess that was my thoughts on the game. Okay. Thank you for watching this video, and bye.